G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of Bordeaux Supercoach. Today is round 14 review, and as you can see, we have scored 2040, which is by far our best buy round score for the season so far. Although it seemed to be a very high scoring week for a lot of people, as obviously 2040 was only enough to get us top 18% for the round, which is still not great, but look, it's better than what happened last week. So, yeah, obviously our season rank is still in the 60,000, so we haven't been able to really make much improvements on that, and to be honest, I don't think we will for the rest of the year. But that's alright, we'll look forward to 2027, but let's get into the team. Um, so, yeah, Sinclair didn't play very well. I didn't watch this game, so I'm not sure what happened, but yeah, clearly just didn't have much of an impact. I don't think he had many touches either, to be honest. Let me just double check. Sinclair, where is he? Yeah, he only had 22 touches, so yeah, it looks like Nasai being back hasn't exactly helped his scoring too much, which is unfortunate. Max Holmes 1 in 24, so he was pretty good. He's been a good trade in. Lockie Whitfield 99. I'm honestly surprised he didn't score more against the Saints. I think he started off quite well. I mean, he had 31 touches and 115 fantasy, so yeah, it's pretty disappointing that didn't convert to Supercoach. But if we look at the quarter by quarter, yeah, he had 40 in the first and just completely faded out after that. So yeah, pretty disappointing stuff. And yeah, Roberts injured his shoulder, so I think he's going to be a trade out, which is really annoying. Um, yeah, it's kind of funny how he was going nuts all season, and then I brought him in, and he's just had like the most average scoring of all time, and now he's gotten injured. So, yeah, ain't it fun? Josh Worrell 79, back to being a fake primo. Isaac Heaney didn't really do a whole lot. He played quite well in the second half, but was pretty quiet in the first half. I think he was going at about 30% efficiency as well in the first half. So yeah, that didn't help, but he was pretty good in the second half, especially the third quarter. He was quite good. Zach Butters was very good as well. Did some good stuff throughout the game. Bontempelli, not much from him. Same with Luke Davies-Uniacke. I mean, he was like, 100's not terrible, but yeah, obviously would have liked more. Finn Callahan, yeah, was pretty quiet again, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. Sardis was solid. Rechko, probably time for him to go. And then, mate, the ruck line far out. Mate, 168, 152. Originally I was fuming because the one time I don't have Max Gorn as the VC or the C, he drops a massive score. But then I had Sherry get a 150, so that made up for it. Although it was pretty interesting with Sherry because he only had about 20% of the centre bounce attendances, but he just absolutely dominated around the ground, which obviously was good enough for him to get a 150. Look, it's a bit concerning that he's not really getting any centre bounces anymore, but he's still, the main guy for North Melbourne around the ground, and he's still very dominant around the ground. Obviously, I'm pretty sure against West Coast he had a lot of tackles and contested possessions, which is what he does when he's at his best. Yeah, 8 tackles, 14 contested possessions, so and still had 22 hitouts compared to Goad, who had 20. So yeah, it was an interesting one. But look, I'll take the 150 captain score for the first week. I trade him in, but yeah, it is looking like it could be a bit of an iffy pick. But look, if you can continue to dominate around the ground like he did this week, he's still got some pretty favourable matchups to come. So hopefully he can do 120, 120 over the next few weeks. That would be nice. But yeah, Harry Sheezel as well had a day out against West Coast. Petrarca, Yeah, he's had a quite few weeks, unfortunately. Rankin, hopefully he's back from injury sooner rather than later. Horn Francis played really well against Sydney. Started off the game like a house on fire. Was pretty quiet through the middle couple quarters, but then came to life in the last quarter. Kicked a clutch goal at the end to cut the margin to single figures, I'm pretty sure. And then he almost could have had another shot on goal to put them in front, but Ollie Wines just absolutely cooked a handball to him late in the fourth, so that could have been an extra 20 points or so. But yeah, it was good from Horn Francis. Bailey Williams was good as well, turned up against Sherry and Goad, so that was good to see. I think he should be able to do 95 to 100 for the rest of the season, which is pretty good. Murdoch was pretty quiet. Probably time to trade him out. Todd Marshall just continues to stink it up. I don't even know if I'm going to trade him out at all, to be honest, because he just hasn't really got much cash to sort of cash in. And then Hawk Khan was pretty solid, 68. Could potentially be a keeper, which I know sounds crazy, but given the state of my team and my cash gen and my trades, there's a decent chance I'm only going to be able to get 22 primos, which includes all the fake primos that I have, which means I might need Hawk Khan as that sort of last on-field option. So, look, we'll see how we go. But let's get into trades. So first of all, Archie Roberts needs to go. Which means I think I'm going to move Hawk Khan back into defense, which then actually no, that's not what I was doing. Sorry, was I think I was moving Todd Marshall back there. Dude, I remember I had a plan. Hang on, let me just see how things play out. And then I was also obviously training at Murdoch, and then getting in Cozzy Pickett and Pod. Get them in. Because obviously Cozzy Pickett. Let me just double check what his break even is, but I know he's got the buy in a couple of weeks, and it's a pretty bad buy, but I just need cheap primos, and Cozzy Pickett is quite cheap, obviously. What the heck? How do you spell his name? Okay, whatever. He's 468 with a break even of 40, so this is as cheap as he's going to get, so I think I do want to jump on now while he's cheap. And then same with Luke Jackson, who is the next bloke I'm trading in for Rechko. So I think we move Korga Khan into the middle. And then Luke Jackson, who has Geelong this week, so that should be a good matchup. Which means this is the state of my team currently. So if I just optimize it by doing this and this, and then this is the state of my team. So I need one more defender and one more midfielder, with 5 trades left and pretty much no cash gen. So what I'm probably going to do is, obviously I've still got Elijah Sarders as well. I'm probably just going to straight swap him to Sam Durham next week, who is still quite cheap. Look, it's not ideal, but I don't know if I have much of a choice because he's cheap and I have no cash gen left. Let me just double check what Sardis break even is. 48, so he probably doesn't have heaps of cash gen left either. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to just go Sam Dome because I just have no cash, which then leaves me with Sam Dome as my last midfielder. Technically forward because obviously I've got all these blokes here who have mid status, so it basically means I'm gonna have 6 forwards. No, sorry, 7 forwards, but obviously pretty much all of them have mid status, so yeah, it's not ideal, but I don't really have much of a choice. And then what is Lockie Ash's price? 520. So I would like to maybe get him or Wanger. as my last defender, but I just don't know if I'm going to have the cash because obviously I'm going to have 4 trades left by the time I get Sam Durham in. 4 trades and pretty much no cash left, which means, look, I could probably somehow manage to finesse one more primo if I let Hawker Hahn make cash. Hopefully Jack Eisen maybe makes more cash. Podarski could make some cash. Dirksen as well, and Marshall. So I probably would be able to potentially finesse one more primo. But what I would probably rather do is just have the 22 primos plus Korgahan, and then have like the 3 or 4 trades left over for injury insurance, because last year when I finished my team, I had like 1 trade left and I ended up having like 4 injuries. So it meant for the last like 2 months I was copping donuts left, right, and center. So I think what I'm just gonna do is I'm gonna cop the L and just have 22 primos. But it means that if I have a few injuries, I'll be able to handle it. I'll just be able to trade them out and find someone else to get in. And it also means that I could potentially be able to upgrade Houston, who is definitely by far my worst fake primo, into someone like a Lockie Ash by using potentially Dirksen's cash, or Ison's cash, just whoever makes more. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at the moment. So obviously the team's pretty much done. It's not great. Um, obviously. Look, my top 5 mids are pretty good. My top 3 defenders are pretty good. Obviously, I think I've got a pretty good ruck line, pretty good forward line. The only problem is I'm going to be 1 primo short, and I've still got multiple fake primos. But yeah, look, should be fine. In terms of captains and vice captains for this week, I think I'm going to go Luke Jackson as the VC. And I could potentially do Sherry again against Richmond. It's a pretty easy ruck matchup. But I don't know. I don't know if he's going to get 150 again. Like, he was pretty lucky to get that, to be honest, with no centre bounces. So, look, I don't know. Look, there's every chance that North Melbourne end up dropping this new ruck guy. Where is he? I think his name's Goad or something. Goad. I don't know how to pronounce it. But look, there is a chance could eventually drop him. But I don't know. Is Sherry a captain's option this week? Because I feel like they're not going to drop Goad this week. It is Richmond, which is arguably the easiest ruck matchup. And Sherry did just go 150 against West Coast, who, Bailey Williams has been doing alright. So, yeah, it's interesting. You know what? I'll leave it like this for now. I could do... Actually, maybe it's better to do Sheasel, I'm not gonna lie. How do I get rid of this stupid search thing? There we go. But yeah, obviously Gold Coast Hawthorn, not really any captain's options there. Adelaide, Melbourne. If you had Dawson, that would be a good one, but I unfortunately don't have Dawson and will not be able to get him. So don't think there's any options here. I don't really like Gawn against McAndrew. I don't think that's the best, although you never know. Maybe Gawn isn't a bad option, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe Jackson into Gawn could be good. Pickett could be an option. And then GWS and Carlton, not really anyone there. Collingwood, Port, Zach Butters could be an option, although I don't know if we'll send Perryman or like Ed Allen to Zach Butters potentially. Obviously not going anywhere near Dan Houston. Nick Dacos, don't really love that, to be honest. He hasn't been playing too well this year. And then obviously Richmond North, Sherry and Sheasel were both options. And then Luke Davies Uniac as well is a smoky. And then Saints and Doggies. Bont could be an option. Don't really love Sinclair. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. Look, I think I'm just gonna hope that Jackson hits with the VC because I don't really know who I want to put the C on. So look, we'll see. I'll put it on Gorn for now, but there's every chance that changes. But I think this is what I'm gonna line up with for round 14. Obviously we'll just quickly adjust for the buys. So we get Ison on, probably either Dirksen and Marshall, and then get Pod on, and that should be good. Obviously I have no idea how I'm gonna go this week. Obviously I'd like to think I do alright, but look, we'll see. Yeah, obviously, hopefully it's alright, but yeah, next week we'll probably just go starters to Durham and then see how we go from there. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next week.